Now we have sound. Yes, we have sound. There we go. That should be good. Gonna hit the record. There we go. Sorry, that's for syncing things up. I apologize to everyone out there right now who had to hear those claps. There we go. Good times here. Good times. Hopefully notifications have gone out. I don't know. I'm 5 minutes early here. I have to get used to hearing my own voice because after mistakes have been made in the past, YouTube Studio here, where I talked for quite a long time to no one. Well, not to no one, but basically no one because, well, audio problems. Won't be on my phone normally for this, but we'll see what we've got here. Oh, that's right. I forgot one other prop. Yes, we have props. You should always remember the first MVP disc you buy. Whether you meant to or not. I know that sounds weird, but we'll get into it. It's all related to a community question. And as far as I know, got no questions from the Twitters. No one twitted at me, as far as I can tell. Show them all. Nope, just half in the bag, which is a Joe's Disc Golf podcast, but not one that I manage the social media for. That would be the other co-host, RJ. And he usually does a good job. And by usually, I mean like 85% of the time. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Drink it all down into my belly. I'd like to welcome everybody who is watching through YouTube and watching on Twitch. We're not on Facebook anymore. It is by far too much of a hassle to try to live stream on Facebook and at least Twitch. I get random people coming in to watch and listen and chat. And on Facebook, it's just a load of balagna. And honestly, like, I mean, I've gotten no views. like, and that's not a site for discovery. Let's be honest here. Yes, this is the banter portion of the Joe's Disc Golf Banter podcast. Because, well, it is still a couple minutes before I said I'd go live. I want to give everybody give them the opportunity to show up at 10:30 Eastern Standard Time. And who knows? We'll see what's out there. Hopefully everybody is surviving and doing well. If you're out on the West Coast, I hope you have your floaties. Holy crap, California has been getting drenched. They are currently attempting to end a drought in a week, and seems to be going well and awful all at the same time because, well, you're trying to get years worth of rainfall in a week. All right. The Simon special. No, we do not have Simon Lizotte coming to talk with us. I wish. We are not a big enough podcast for that. But with your help, we can get there one day. One day in the future, Mr. Spock, I foresee this happening. I will also hopefully have timestamps at the bottom of this podcast when it's done, when I re-upload it over the weekend and get it going, as well as, kind of let you know ahead of time in the podcast description when this goes out. Kind of tooling around with the idea of changing the Joe's Disc Golf podcast. So the Joe's Disc Golf YouTube site has kind of gone through some fun changes here. Obviously, I'm posting more, getting more creative, and doing more, which means I'm sleeping less, and that's okay. I really love doing what I'm doing. This is a ton of fun, don't get me wrong. So don't take that as a bad thing, take that as a positive thing. Hopefully, we'll continue to grow here, and maybe one day YouTube will let us throw some ads on at the beginning. If you are techies out there, if you follow Linus Tech Tips, their model, I think, is the best, where ad at the beginning, ad at the end, no ads in the middle. Because I hate ads. I think ads are stupid in the middle, but I get it that you got to pay the bills. And not everybody has those same opinions as I do. And speaking of Linus Tech Tips, I know we are competing with the WAN show, and I know there's a huge crossover between all my fellow tech nerds and my fellow disc golf nerds. Lots of nerds. We've got a nerd herd here. Love you guys. Love my nerd herd. It's a ton of fun. I believe this has gone live. I haven't gotten a notification anywhere. People have been popping in and out, but we shall see here. Yes, okay. Okay, we are live. Yay! Okay, just making sure, because YouTube can get really weird. If you've never tried to live stream on YouTube, I currently have, and I love the YouTube live stats. Live stats are awesome. So if you ever get a chance to, go ahead and live stream at least once, because you simultaneously have 5 concurrent viewers and no concurrent viewers. And I know because DCUS55 just let me know I'm live that I have at least one person in there. Because, yay, I don't understand. Oh, man. It is technology. It's great sometimes. Usually when it works, I don't know. All I know is YouTube has also changed some of their rules, and you can't swear within the first 8 seconds. And not that I really swear, at least on this effing channel, no, I'm kidding. But they made a whole bunch of changes kind of under the radar there. Who knows? But I have 10:32. I guess this is a good time to officially start the show. What's up, disc golfers? Joe here with Joe's Disc Golf, and lots to talk about. Simon news. Simon says lots of things to Ultiworld because, they're big enough, they can get them. And I can't. Not for lack of effort, though. And I understand. I did listen to the Ultiworld podcast where they talked about it. And Simon is only going to do one podcast of his choosing talking about his contract, and that's it. So, hey, you know what? I can understand. And I'm assuming they don't know who it is. Oh, message retracted. I almost read it. I hope it was a good one. I'm guessing not because you retracted it. No worries. Lost my train of thought. Doing one podcast, I get it. He doesn't want to do 5, 6, 7, 8 different podcasts and then answer the same questions over and over and over and over and over again. Okay, so yeah, so there was a typo. No big deal, DC US 55. So he'll be involved in disc design. Jake Miller, that's awesome. Okay, so he wrote, YouTube is the most transparent platform ever. How couldn't they let content creators know the new policy? I'm kidding. This message was held for review by YouTube. I can't make this crap up. That was awesome. Like, Jake, I'm sure you did not do that on purpose. I don't know how you could have, but that was fantastic. I mean, you can't make this crap up. He's going to be on the Nick and Matt show tomorrow. Aha. That makes a lot of sense. Lives out that way. I know those guys are out there. I know they're pretty good friends out there. And they do... The Nick and Matt show does really good... does really good interviews that are more casual, more conversational style. I mean, they do get some good questions. I thought the interview that the Nick and Matt show did with Natalie Ryan was actually pretty good. I didn't agree with a lot of things, but they did ask questions and push back. So that's about all you can do as an interviewer, is just ask those questions, get the information out there, and let the viewers and listeners decide for themselves. So, yeah. Other jokes about no swearing in the first 2 hours. Well, poop. That's about all I can say about that. I guess this is a good place to do some just general channel updates here. Been trying to pump out the videos a lot more, as I'm sure you guys notice, and this is bugging me. I don't know if it's bugging you guys, but my camera is a little off kilter. There we go. I have a viewfinder, and I have a little green line. Well, it's green when it's flat. When it's off kilter, it's yellow, and it was bugging the bejesus out of me. Yeah, riveting stuff here. But trying to upload more stuff, trying to be more creative with my stuff. I seems like you guys have liked it. I know somebody commented on the whole Simon Lizotte leaving with the Anchorman. They're like, "Oh, you're just doing this for views." No, I'm doing it because I'm being creative. I'm trying to be creative as a man who has multiple science degrees. I am trying to be creative, and so far so good. I would definitely appreciate if people watched it and liked it, but I am doing it because I like doing it, is all it comes down to. Just as all of the videos, some of them have done better than others. See the Nico video, the Brody Smith versus Justin Minnelli video. That went crazy. And then, random stuff here and there. But I appreciate all of you guys, whether you have been subscribed for a while or not. Clearly, YouTube has fact checkers that told me that they are indeed transparent and not sneaky at all. That was a quote. Please, YouTube, don't hate me. So I have to get used to doing live chat again. I'm sorry. If this podcast is going to seem all over the place, that is because it has been... Well, I had to update the last title. The last title I did was the Thanksgiving special. And the last time I live streamed before that, holy crap, yeah, it's been a while. So I have to get used to live chat. I have to be able to keep my train of thought, keep on rolling forward, and then, answer the questions as they come up. So, here is a good question. I guess we'll start here. We'll talk about gyroplastic, we'll talk about MVP, and then we'll get into the Simon deal. How about that for a teaser? Oh, I'm dead sexy. Sexy man, sexy man. I am all over the board too, and it has nothing to do with this delicious Japanese whiskey that I'm drinking. And there goes a community strike, probably. Who knows? First, at first I thought the first MVP disc I ever got would be the either the Nitro in Neutron plastic or the Catalyst also in Neutron plastic. I was doing a series that I want to revive called The Battle of the Beef, and I was taking, at the time, what I had were crazy overstable discs from Trilogy. I was for a long time Team Trilogy, which is their fan-sponsored thing, and you only throw Trilogy plastic. Cool. Everybody has their own version of that. Whether it's official or not, that one's kind of on the unofficial side. And I thought that was my first foray into MVP Axiom Streamline. But I was wrong. Because when I signed up as a PDGA member back in 2018, the 106674, I think. I don't know. Doesn't really matter. My disc was the PDGA. This is a Tesla. I had no idea about it. I went to throw it. I threw it a couple times and said, this disc sucks. Why the hell would I ever throw anything from MVP? This disc is awful. That was before I knew to check things and how, I was really new into it. So I had no idea about things like, wait, this is a 150 gram disc. So, and at the time I was a big forearm player, big forearm flex lines and everything. So of course, this immediately went into a thrower. I would throw it and it was awful. Now, I still don't think I could throw it. It's a bit too light, but I understand that this disc might not suck if I get it in 170, 175. As for the whole gyro, if it goes further or not, the discs that I have are meat hooks, the Nitro and the Catalyst. I got them to do, like I mentioned before, the Battle of the Beef. And I wanted to get something with that, and things didn't pan out. Had my first child, and any of you who are parents out there know that any bit of free time you had before is gone. Absolutely gone. I love my daughter. I love spending time with my daughter, but it makes it hard to get out to do, especially when they're non-mobile and can't entertain themselves that well, whether or not you can get out there, especially to do filming. And the last thing I want to do is drag my daughter out there, and then she's miserable and crying, and then I'm miserable and probably crying, and that does not make for good content. Plus, I'm not putting her on camera. As for the question if gyro goes further, I think there was a video that Foundation did, is it about a year ago at this point, where they did it, and it seemed like gyro went on average about 10 to 15 feet further. I have not had a chance to test that. As I said, I picked up some meat hooks. I need to get something that's like, say, a Sheriff. And I picked up the Streamline Jet, which turned out to be way less stable than I thought. And then I also picked up it was a Zeus. Turned out to be a little more stable than I was hoping for, but we'll see. That still might make the bag. Any thoughts on his choice of the spin being more similar to his P1 Aces, which is not really a P1 anymore? I know the P1s and everything changed. I know. Crucify me here on this one. I didn't like the P1. I know. I'm sorry. Here's my problem. I love beaded putters. If it's not a beaded putter for putting, it feels awful in my hand, and I don't like it. So I don't know. And I don't know the spin. I don't know MVP or Axiom all that well. So unfortunately, I am not going to be a lot of help. I'm going to be watching a lot more of Simon's videos to find out what these are. Because like I said, I've been Trilogy for a long time. Obviously, like everyone who is about my age and who's 30 or more years old, you started with your choice of Innova. And then maybe if you were lucky, you got the choice of some Discraft if you're in the right area. But I was not. So I started out with Innova. So that's what I knew at first, and whatever. I like Jake says, I like gyro except for distance drivers. I can't figure them out. Much prefer Raiders and Trespasses because the dome feels more natural. I love my Raiders and I love my Trespasses. I have one Trespass that is beat to perfection, which means I'm going to lose it soon. And I've got two Raiders, and they're awesome. The only thing I recommend that you try, because as I love my Raiders, pick up a Grace. If it's an 11 speed, but dear Lord, they are amazing. Oh, the Grace is such a good disc. Such a good disc. I got some crazy distance. I was playing a tournament, and it was a doubles tournament. I'm an MA1 player. My buddy's bottom MA3 or MA4 if that's available, to give you an idea. So we played MA2, kind of compromised in this doubles tournament. And I hit someone on my drive. To be fair, the hole was 400 feet long, and they were standing at the tee pad probably another 15 feet away, and I threw the Grace, and it wouldn't fall out of the sky. It was one of those where I'm like watching, I'm like, wow, that's a good throw. That's a good throw. That probably won't hit him. That probably, oh crap, that's going to hit him 4, and well, it kind of hit him in the thigh. But that still left me like a 50-footer because they were also off to the side, and that was not pretty at all. It's interesting. I really want to try some of the gyro stuff. I do have hanging up at my office at work, and it's only hanging up there because it's a really cool stamp. It's the Pyro Special Edition, which I won at a tournament. Never threw it. I was told it was a Justice-like disc, and I'll be curious. I don't want to throw it because it's too pretty, and apparently it's a special edition first run. And if Simon ends up throwing that disc a lot, I have a feeling it might be worth something, so I might try to sell it. Yeah. But yeah, I ran out. Beer Outdoors Briggs said that he ran out to grab a spin. I'll be curious. There's a lot of gyro at my local shop, so shout out to PB Sports, which you can find them online. I got lucky. I happened to, again, PB Sports, find a bunch of Kristen Tatar Graces, and I actually managed to pick up, they had them back, so they ran a limited number of Graces with the wolf stamp, just the regular one. The new ones say KT on it for Kristen Tatar. The old one said Lupus for canine, basically for wolves. But yeah, then they realized after that was sent out, like Lupus, ooh, bad. That's a bad disease. So got rid of them, managed to snag one. They're so nice. I did not get my hands on a Sky God. Woof. Yeah, that's expensive. I do have a Simon Lizotte tilt from a couple years ago that I paid probably $50 or $60 for. That is the most I've ever paid for a disc. Would be it was $50 or $60 plus tax and all that fun stuff. So that was I actually use the tilt probably once every other round, and I love it. It's a great disc for when you need it. But then again, I'm the kind of person who, yeah, you got the EMAC Truth, and that's a good mid-range. Don't get me wrong. But the Justice, that's where it's at. I have 4 Justices in various states of wear that I throw all over the place. And I have a whole bunch of Felons. Same thing. Whole bunch of different wear. I'm a major forehand player, so I throw a lot of that. I've really kind of worked on my flip-up game. I am no Sarah Hokum, but, you know, hey, it's getting there. It's getting there. It is getting there. The game is getting there, and the backhand is getting there. So we'll see. We'll see. I guess, since I've answered all the questions so far to the best of my ability, obviously I am not perfect. No one is. And I'm a one-man producer. We'll switch it over to this webpage here from Ultiworld. I do have an article up on Joe's Disc Golf, but, and I say, you know, hey, go over to joesdiscgolf.com for the current touring contract player page, searchable. It has everybody that I could find information on, and there might be a few holes in there. I apologize. I don't think I have Paul Macbeth on there because I'm 99% sure he's going to retire at Discraft, just like I am 99% sure Simon is going to retire at MVP. So this whole deal was kind of crazy. It was kind of like Simon, just for reference, Simon just re-upped his contract in the spring of 2022, 9-ish months ago. That was crazy. He re-upped it for 4 more years, I think, off the top of my head. And then all of a sudden, one day, Steve Dodge is like, hey, Simon, buddy old pal, you want to go grab some lunch? You want to maybe play for MVP? Yeah, lunch? Yeah, let's do lunch. Goes there, brings, I can't remember his name, from MVP. They talk it out. They go, so what would it take? And he's like, here's a ridiculous number. And they're like, we like that ridiculous number. What about a signing bonus? Here's a ridiculous number. We can do that ridiculous number. And basically it kind of went there from day one. Honestly, like it's I I'm at a loss for words, to be completely honest. Like, I never thought, I have only been covering and really paying attention to the pro scene since 2020, early 2020, kind of when I started up the website and the YouTube channel. I've been playing disc golf for far longer than that, but yeah, it was crazy. It's always been Simon is at Discmania. That's it. Simon is Discmania. And then now he's not. But it's 10 years. The assumption, a source that I know has mentioned that it is $1 million, but all that Simon would say is to Ultiworld is that it is 7 figures. So, hey, million, 1.2, 1.1, whatever it is, he's getting paid. That's ridiculous. I wish I could get paid half that kind of money to cover and play disc golf. It is interesting. So, Jake does bring up a good point here. I don't think MVP will get their return on investment on this deal. They are 11.25 mil for a player who gets bored at 30. Imagine when he's 35 and more burnt out. Oh, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. So one of the interesting things that was brought up in the Ultiworld podcast, the Upshot podcast, was that they mentioned that, something along those lines. And Simon's response was he had been with Discmania for so long that he felt weird getting that much money from Discmania. Whether that's true or he's just blowing smoke out of his rear, I don't know. Given Simon's history and just who he is, his personality, he's a straight shooter. I mean, look at his video where he's going through his in the bag and he's like, I don't even know what this plastic is. I don't know what this disc is. I don't know at all. And that's pretty honest, pretty awesome there. So I think he was kind of like, it felt like family. He was a little too close and it was uncomfortable for him to do business. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But it seems interesting. I think what's going to happen over probably this year for sure is as Simon grows and learns the plastic and puts out incredible amounts of content, people are going to go there and I bet they'll cover their costs for the $1 million buyout that it cost him. Whatever his signing bonus is, it was 6 figures. My guess, probably 250,000. That is roughly what Ricky got originally with Bitcoin. Now it's probably like $250 because Bitcoin keeps dropping. And then Paul's McLaren is $100,000. I forget. I don't know what he got, what package. Either way, doesn't matter. I'm freaking jealous. That's all I gotta say. I'm jealous about that. I'm not really a car guy, but that was sexy. That car was so good. Now, MVP just seems to be getting win after win after win. And so if James Conrad is a tell for performance we should expect out of Simon, Simon's going to win Worlds this year, despite my conspiracy of Brody getting 5 Pro Tour wins and then 2 majors this year. I don't know if you guys like that conspiracy theory. I just have fun with it. And yes, the next sponsor for Simon Lizotte is going to be Audi. Ah, man. Craziness. What else is going on through here, through this article? It was, oh God, what was I going to say? Blanking. Nike? Who knows? I think if a big company were to jump in, I think it would be kind of a mid-range company, not necessarily Nike or Adidas or anyone like that, outside of like individuals. So like, was it Nike of Estonia is sponsoring Kristen Tatar to some extent? I think we'll see more of that. I think we'll see more like local or regional things sponsoring pros. Like, um, was it the Joe Manchin? Was it Joe Manchin? Ford sponsored. Uh, was that DMC? Was it the Des Moines Challenge last year or 2 years ago? And but that was like a local, regional ish Ford dealership. It wasn't Ford Motor Company. It was Ford dealership of local area. Or the TrueBank that was TrueBank that sponsored Des Moines Challenge this year. And that was a regional bank there. I think we're going to start seeing more and more of that because that makes sense. I don't think we're going to see big sponsors coming in yet. Barbasol being that like middle tier kind of, because I mean, shaving cream, who thinks about that? Let's be honest about that. You know, uh I going off a couple of the things here, I just want Corey Ellis to finally get a win. Yes. He's close to getting a win, and he's close to getting a Matty O reputation. Yes. Matty O is awesome too. And I've seen his name spelled different where there's a dash in there between the Y and the O instead of a space. I don't know. Simon gets a free pair of Terex. It's kind of sponsored. Yeah. I when I say sponsor, I mean like when you look at NBA, MLB, and NFL, and you got Jake from State Farm doing Aaron Rodgers commercials stuff there. Could you imagine if there was a Jake from State Farm with Simon? I think that'd be Austin. Gillette, yeah, that could be a possible one on the more regional side, I think. I'm not even using this right now. Let's do that. You can stare at my whole ugly mug here instead of just the corner. Yeah. That would be good. I mean, I think we just need to work slowly to get the regional stuff, like approaching your local area visit. Like for me, I live in the Fort Wayne area, so visit Fort Wayne to try to work with your local club to bring in more, a larger tournament, try to get that Pro Tour stop. Like, say what you will about Worlds being at Bedford in 2 years, I think. I think it's 2 years, or is it 3 years? Whatever it is. But the local city, worked with them, did all that stuff, and they were able to get Worlds there. On top of the fact that there were only 3 bids, 2 in the U.S., they're not going to go outside of North America yet because they're not going to get anyone to travel there. You'll get Paul, you'll get Ricky, probably Simon now, but as you go down, you're not going to get some of these other guys. Like, would James Conrad have traveled for European Worlds a couple years ago? I know he went to the European Open this year, but who knows? I also love the sausage brand entrance tunnel for the players at the Tour Championship. Yes. The Johnsonville Brat. There is a lot of good jokes there. Something Johnsonville. I swear I had something for this. Swear I did. But yeah. It'll be real interesting to see what Simon ends up throwing. I want to know what he's going to end up designing, because he joked about it being called a Simon line because the Simon line is already a thing. I'll be curious if there's going to be what there's going to be, basically. Is there, like I mentioned in the brief article that I put up, I think one of his first discs, I'm sure they're going to go gyro first. They're going to make something gyro for Simon. And I think disc number 2 is going to be a destroyer. Depending on what run you got, DD's got the Raider. Is it the it's not the Zeus. What's the other one that Paul has that's basically a destroyer? I can't remember now off the top of my head. Real Sausage Fest attorneys and beards. Let's go, Gillette. The Force. Yes, the Force. Duh. That's not even a Paul disc. But that's duh. I think I even have a Nate Doss Force from back in the day in titanium plastic. I've been going through my collection recently, just trying to find things here. But yes, I think, um, so, so like, is that a sausage festivals like in Vienna's? If you know that reference, I am so proud of you right now, and you are a true, true nerd. And I appreciate that. The Defender is closer to a Destroyer. Yeah, I guess. I mean, let's tackle this elephant. Which run? Which run of Destroyers are we talking about here? Because I mean, anybody who's thrown a Destroyer, it's like, yeah, I like this one, this very specific one because it flies like this, and that's Innova's thing. Is their run to run variance is ridiculous, and that's part of the reason I didn't like Innova, and that's why you might like them. That's fantastic, but I want to go out and I want to, my Raider is beat up and I need a new Raider. I'm gonna get a new Raider. And I've not thrown a Nate Doss Titanium Buzz. I've only recently thrown a Buzz and I didn't like it. I know, sacrilege. Burn the heretic, but my zone. Oh, I love my zone. In Z Plastic, I think it's Z Plastic. I just picked up a zone in Flex Z. Oh, that is what I wanted a Justice to be. It hits the ground, it kind of flexes a little and just stops. I was throwing it out in the field the other day. The grass was kind of wet, and I was getting big skips on everything, and then I threw that, and it just kind of like died. That was it. It was awesome. That's exactly what I want in an approach disc. At certain situations, obviously. There are certain holes that I've gone to and played where I want to skip, other holes where I don't want to skip, And that's fun. That's fun. It's good times. It's good times. Trying to get out there, trying to do stuff. I gotta say, this is probably one of the most fun live streams I've ever done. Ever. You guys are awesome. Everybody who's been chatting so far. DC US 55, Beer Outdoors, Biggs, Jake from State Farm. I'm sure you've never heard that one before. You guys are all awesome. I think Simon will be pushed to have a putter as his first disc. MVP wants aces on his vlog. Yeah. And honestly, let's be real here for a minute. MVP just wants their discs on his vlog. Because I look at this as somewhat similar to, and don't take this the wrong way, take this seriously at face value, as similar to the Kona deal, where when DD signed her, she was definitely on the rise. This year, hopefully an anomaly, because she did not play well, and I think that's about as nice as I can say it. Where Simon, but her social media presence, huge. She's all over. Her brand is all about growing and getting better and everything. So this probably worked out, and she probably still sold a buttload of discs. Plus her artwork on the disc, some of her stamps were amazing. Simon had 4 wins, had a career year, absolutely career year here. And he has his vlog, which has, the last time I looked, over 170,000 subscribers. So MVP bought 170,000, like access to 170,000 people is what they did. In part, obviously, if Simon goes out and gets another win or two, I don't know how many more 4-win seasons we're going to see here, because the competition in the field is getting better. But I think, yeah, you're getting the brand. You're getting the Simon Lizotte brand. You're getting what's really cool is just his honesty and his relatability. He doesn't go out there, he doesn't try to be Mr. Fake, basically. He doesn't try to present himself as this buttoned up individual who is like, yes, I am basically Paul. And nothing wrong with that. That works for Paul. Don't get me wrong. It works. But I think, as pointed out by Ultiworld, too many people try to do it, and it just comes across as fake BS. Where Simon is just like, hey, here's this disc. It's in this plastic. I have no idea what that means, but we're going to learn together. And it flies just like a P2. This putter that I am putting with now is just like my P2. You should go out and buy one. And then all of a sudden, you've got all the Simon diehards. Say there's 10,000, 15,000 of them. You just sold 10 or 15,000 discs right there that you wouldn't have otherwise sold to people. I'm considering buying it. I didn't buy any of the James Conrad stuff with the Nomad. That's cool. Great for him. The Holy Shot, Winning Worlds, amazing. That commercial was done to death. And I don't want to see it again this year, but I'm sure we will. That's okay. MVP needs to lure away a stamp artist, maybe from AGL. Potentially. Yeah. Oh, Simon, definitely the most relatable guy out there. I'm trying to be honest with you guys as well. I am not Simon. I wish I could throw his injured distance. Forget his ridiculous Simon lines before that. But I'm trying to be like, I try to be out there. Obviously for the camera, everybody hams it up a little bit, but this is mostly me. You come meet me on the street, you come meet me on the course, and I'm going to be kind of like this. As for stamps, yeah, they need to find something like, apparently his first disc, the Hex, will have his axolotl or an image of an axolotl on there. They need to go out and find, I don't know, just go to a good art school and be like, all right, hey, who wants a senior project? We'll pay you in 25 discs and a t-shirt, which was Simon's first contract with Discmania, but that was also back when that meant a lot. And also, they were both smaller and unknown brands. But the black mixed mystery box just arrived. I was a little late to the party. I don't, side tangent, as if this podcast is anything but tangents. I don't like the mystery boxes. In my mind, they're no different than loot boxes in video games. I want to know what I'm getting. I do. I don't subscribe to like the Ricky mystery box or the Ricky subscription box. I like how DD does their hand-eye supply box and does that, and they let you know ahead of time what it is so you can choose to buy it or not. So that's just kind of my thing. If you like it, that's great. Don't get me wrong. It's a great way for people to find discs they might not have already bought. I just talk to some local friends and just go, hey, you throw this. Can I throw that? Can I try that? What's that fly like? DC does bring up a good point. They had nothing available on day one at the MVP site. No hats, no sweatshirts, no t-shirts. I'm a little surprised. I am a little surprised about that, but I don't know. For a deal that was signed, it seemed like back in November. It's like, all right, well, what's going on here? I'd be curious if the announcement was supposed to happen a day before, except that no one could fly anywhere. That was unfortunate. It is great for trying new companies. I'm fortunate in my area where our club discs, our club stock is pretty huge. So we've got Innova, we've got Trilogy, Prodigy, MVP, and Discmania that I can think of off the top of my head. There might be more that I haven't paid attention to. And we have a couple guys in the club that have thrown more or less most of those different brands. And we have some local sponsored pros. So I can go up to them and go, hey, buddy, what's that? Can you throw that? What does that fly like? I'm looking for this. What's that? I'm looking for this flight. And he's like, oh, here you go. Here, try this, try this, try this. I tried an Austin Hannum A2 from Prodigy. Didn't like it. Yeah, it's interesting. If I were MVP's design artist, I would have a red and black fit / bag ready before the announcement. Seeing Simon in bland gray is weird. Yes, especially because his outfit or his intro is even red and black. Like that's crazy to me. that he was in something different. How much effort to create some hats? I don't know. I mean, over on the well, work in progress new Joe's Disc Golf site, merch site through Zazzle. Well, you can buy a lovely beer stein that's kind of up there. It's hard to see. It's there we go. Found it. There it is. It's got the Half in the Bag logo on it. Working on other stuff. Other things have popped up since then, but I can design a hat pretty quick, relatively speaking, and get it shipped out. Unfortunately, it's all a work in progress because my old print-on-demand supplier, we did not agree on certain things there. So, yeah. Anyway, they did some things that were kind of shady, and I was like, "Yep, new, gone." So I'm currently nothing to transfer over. So, working on it. Jake says, "I carry 12 molds with 11 different brands. I love having as many companies as possible in my bag." I can respect that. Like I said, I was Team Trilogy for a while, and so all of my bag had to be Trilogy. And the first thing I bought when I stopped being on Team Trilogy was a Tilt. And then I got a Zone. I have a Berg. I have... What else do I have? What else do I throw that's different? I had a Flick in my bag for a while. Loved that thing. It was great. Just fell off a truck too. I gotcha. Wink, wink, nod, nod. Ha, ha, ha. But yeah, I'm slowly expanding. At this point, like, I have my shots covered. So I'm not, as things wear out and as I lose discs, I'm looking at trying other things. I've heard the Pyro. I've heard good things about the Pyro. I want to try that. That seems like it should be close to a Justice. And that is the disc. Everybody says the Justice is a utility disc. And I agree. It is a very utilized disc in my bag. I throw it all the time. It's fantastic. I have a Stego. That's another one that I have for no apparent reason. I have a Stego. And it is absolutely stupid. I don't know how much longer I'll have it in there. I'll probably swap it out for that Soft Buzz. Oh, such a good disc. Such a good disc. I toyed around with the idea of throwing the Boreum. Yeah, that was just, it was, if you've never thrown it, I don't know how to explain it. It's got a curved rim on the inside, and it's just different. But it, like, the flight is interesting. I will say that when I did get it up to speed, it just kind of kept on going. But it feels like it's going to fall into that Rakuten or Michelin from Latitude that had the what is it? The hex pattern on top, where if you got it up to speed, it went great, but it was such a fine line. Little too slow or not enough wind, and that thing was a meat hook. Little too fast or too much wind, and that thing was turning over and burning. But like the handful of throws that I got to go went, and it was crazy. Texas Ranger from Lone Star was a buzz killer for me. I have not thrown any Lone Star plastic. The closest I've gotten to Lone Star was mint discs, and I say closest only because they're both in Texas. I threw the Alpha, and I tried the Alpha, and that was a pretty good disc. The problem was that was roughly the same time I got my Evader, and they were very, very similar. And I had been throwing the Evader for like 2 months at that point, kind of got it to that wear pattern that I liked it. So I was like, I'm not changing it. But their plastic felt amazing. The mint discs Alpha, I don't even know what the plastic was called, but it felt really good. It felt a lot like the Grand plastic from Latitude 64. And I assume with the experience that Lone Star has in the plastics industry, they can make some really good plastic. I got recommended the Penny Putter about a year ago, and unfortunately I did not go for it. I looked at it and was like, well, I already have a throwing putter. It's not beaded. It could be the best, but it's not beaded. And beaded putters are the worst thing in the world, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. And I go back and forth with a bunch of my buddies here. Favorite disc right now is the Musket. I don't like the Musket. It is a little too understable for what I want in that disc, especially when I'm throwing forehand. I need something that's really torque resistant. The hard part is like I have an escape that I can hyzer flip and go straight. And then that's about the only thing I hyzer flip. Sort of my Sheriff-ish, because it is beat up enough where it's not really a Sheriff anymore. It's more like a Captain. But the Musket, though, it's a good disc. One of my buddies, RJ, actually, from Half in the Bag, he loves the Musket. That's his go-to. And he loves it because it's pretty stable for him. But on those windier days, he can get some good distance. And same with the Escape. So yeah, it's just good stuff. That's kind of where I'm at with that. Musket is a bit underrated, I believe, as well. I believe the Raider is. I don't hear anyone really talking about the Raider, except those of you in Las Vegas who talk about the Raiders all the time. Oh yes, if you keep following this channel, there will be more. If I keep doing these live streams, there will be more and more bad jokes. It has nothing to do with the whiskey, I promise. That is just how I am. And if it looks weird that I'm looking off to my left here, that is because, and I haven't had a chance to explain this to all the new people, to my right, I have my screen here that has like the article and anything I'm going to read there. To my left is my screen that has all the chat. So yeah, I'm not sure if anyone will like the Musket in the summer, to be honest. I play in Ohio, and I've only thrown it in the snow, so it could get flippy in the warmer weather. Yeah, and I'm in Northeast Indiana, so I can understand. Although, I mean, spring was here last week, so you didn't get a chance to get out and play during that? Come on, man. Yeah, this weather's been absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, it will get a little more flippy in the cold. I've thrown it in the cold, I've thrown it in the warm, and I haven't noticed a big difference. Obviously, it depends. One of the parks that is one of the best to play year-round is Shoaf. There's not a lot of trees. It's pretty open. So the problem is that it will get windy. There's a golf course just off to the one side, so nothing really stops the wind. And the wind will pick up, and no matter what time, like the worst rounds I've ever played at Shoaf Park are when the wind is under like 4 miles an hour. Because I don't know what to do. My aiming points are all completely off. And it doesn't matter which way the wind is blowing. You will go around that whole course and throw into a headwind. And I've thrown the Musket before, and it's all right. It's just one of those things where it doesn't quite fly the way I want it. And so I have other things in my bag for that. I'll get an updated in the bag here going out hopefully eventually soon. I mean, I just did an in the bag for 2022 in like August. Maybe September, I don't know. But I've also got a review. I recorded all this footage over the summer. A review of, I think I had the Stego. Don't quote me on that one, but I do have one coming for the Sake Bomb Slammer. So back in the day, the Slammer and the Criminal, two of my favorite discs from Dynamic Discs. The Slammer was my go-to overstable approach. It was great. I had a classic super soft. Not soft, super soft. And this thing was just like, it was like a blowfly, essentially. Love that disc. I threw it on a forehand. Anytime I threw it with any kind of force, it felt like it oozed out of my hand. That's how flippy it was, or how soft it was. And I can remember so vividly, right after some new holes were put in at Shoaf Park in the woods, beautiful holes, through what was kind of a bad shot on a backhand line, turned it over, weaving in and out of the trees somehow. Don't know how. Could not throw that shot if you give me 1,000 more tries. Go in, hit the center of the chains, hit the pole, tacoed, and bounced out because it was a soft disc. Threw it another time, and she went to a watery grave. You will be missed, my Slammer. I'm sorry. But it was supposed to just kind of hit and stick because it's super soft plastic, and then it didn't. So yeah. And then the Criminal, I love that disc, and then they stopped making it, so I switched to the Felon, and now I tried to switch back because there's some Criminals out there, and it's not great. I don't know. I like the Felon better, but I feel like the stream went way off the rails, and it's been going on for darn near an hour. Holy macaroni. I probably should get going. I was happily recovering from the good old influenza A for the last 8 days. Today was my first day not high on Dayquil. Yeah, I can understand that. I managed to get a disease not many adults get, and not chickenpox. Over Thanksgiving, my niece, unknowingly to everyone, had hand, foot, and mouth. 5 days later, I had hand, foot, and mouth. Not a single other person at Thanksgiving, and everybody held this child. Everybody held this child. Not another single person got hand, foot, and mouth. Not only, so when an adult gets it, it's supposed to be mild. 99% of the cases are mild. Guess who that 1% is? Yours truly right here. I had neuropathy like you wouldn't believe. It felt like, when your foot falls asleep and you try to walk on it, that pins and needles, 24/7, both feet, whether I'm walking or not. 103-degree fever. It was amazing, let me tell you there. So, how did I get it? I don't know. Probably because I'm out of shape and I need to lose weight as I drink some whiskey, but I'm under my calories. I am. Also, speaking of calories and being out of shape, go over to discgolfhealthy.com if you are looking for simple exercises. It's another website I do, trying to basically get out there. My degrees are in sports medicine. That's how I am trained. I am licensed and all that fun jazz. So I go out and I that's my job. That's my day job, is sports medicine. So I'm working on creating plans for shoulder strengthening, ankles, knees, hips, you name it, trying to do it, trying to get out there. Yes. And Jake, going back to hand, foot, and mouth, brother-in-law had it, said it felt like walking on a bed of nails. Yes, actually, mine felt worse than a bed of nails. I wish I was walking on a bed of nails. But Disc Golf Healthy, check it out. It's still a work in progress. I do have some ankle stuff up. I do have some shoulder stuff up that has both resistance and just isometric. So basically, you're pressing against a wall or something along those lines. So if you want to do that, you can check that out. That's all there. joesdiscgolf.com. We got all that there. There's Twitter and Instagram at Joe's Disc Golf. Everywhere I'm at is at Joe's Disc Golf. At Joe's Disc Golf on Reddit. I don't know how much that helps anybody, but hey, there you go. Recently commented one of the signs for the holes at Tillman Park has some new holes in it. Gunshots. So there's that. Yeah, Tillman Park. Great course. Subpar neighborhood, basically. But yes, Disc Golf Healthy. I think I've got articles on lightning safety and heat and cold safety coming out. Again, this is my job. This is things that I have to think about. And it's good information for you out there, especially if you're going to be like a TD or something and you have questions, because the PDGA does not do a great job. And I want to give this information out there. It's out there. You can find it in other places, but it's hard to piece it all together. And I have all the consensus statements from my governing body, as well as like all the other governing bodies that came together, and that's why it's a consensus statement. So why not share that information there? So I believe that, unless anybody else has any questions, comments, concerns, screams of pain, let me know. I think I did it there. Didn't end up talking that much about Simon. That's okay. I'm thinking about trying to do this stream again, potentially next Friday night. Looking to do it probably Friday nights. We'll see until maybe the disc golf season starts. But then again, I'd be starting after a tournament ends. We'll see. We'll see how the timing works out. Who knows? But unless anybody has anything else, I think that will just about do it. So Thank you all for watching. Don't forget, if you get a great tree kick, to thank Treesus, and if you get a less than perfect tree kick and you get kicked off deeper into the woods, well, you need to repent and reflect because you have transgressed against Treesus. So, as always, I've been Joe, you've been awesome, and I can't wait to see you all in the next video.